What's happening? Andy here. I'm joined today by Jim Coriddi of Ricoh. How are you today, Jim?
I'm good, Andy. How you been?
I am good. Great to see you. You look very happy. The Yankees are rolling. What's happening at Ricoh?
Oh, it's funny when every time you start out by saying what's happening, my reaction is always, oh, there's a lot going on. There's so much going on. It's always there's always a lot going on, right? Everything,
Especially
the
with
world
you.
just keeps changing and all. No, Ricoh, things have been we're really managing through a lot of change, to be able to take advantage of a lot of the change in the market. Our CEO has now been here for 2 years, Carson Brune, and a big focus has been continuing to develop a culture of excellence in the company, preparing ourselves to continue to be a top player as the business continues to expand. So, the numbers are good compared to pre-COVID times. It was the first time I could say that in a while. We actually one of our lines, our production line, has gone well ahead of where we were pre-COVID. So that's good news.
Let me ask you about that, right? So when you say that, is that these are machines that have been delivered or orders that have been taken? Because now in this day and age, we know that's a big difference.
Good question. Production is actually what's been delivered. Demand, quite frankly, we surpassed pre-COVID earlier. Now we're up to a point now where actually what we're delivering is going beyond pre-COVID. With the exception of the aftermarket. The aftermarket, we're still down on the dealer side. We're down about 11%.
Okay.
From pre-COVID.
You're catching up though.
Definitely catching up, and even aftermarket, I don't even think there's 11% spread. I think pre-COVID dealers were inventorying a lot more. So that's why the numbers may have been a little more inflated, where now it's more of a just-in-time environment. So it's probably a few percent that goes that way also. But definitely continuing in the aftermarket to improve methodically, month by month. And I think a lot of our improvement has come because the ratio of production has gone up pretty significantly.
Well, I mean, it's one thing for you guys to be able to sell the production, right? And everybody's out there selling right now, but the delivering is where, a lot of companies in our industry are really struggling right now, right? We saw Xerox had a $400+ million backlog. Let's just start with that one, right? So they're not shipping products. Other companies in our world are struggling to fill contracts, yet you're growing and your unit placements are now higher than they were pre-COVID. So how's Ricoh doing this? What do you attribute your success to, especially in production, right? Where, you go up against some pretty significant competitors, yet you're pulling ahead. So how are you managing to do this? And how are you guys staying on top of the supply chain so well right now?
Well, I'll answer that in two segments. First is the production side, why the demand has gone up so dramatically. We've taken a very conscious effort to invest, even during these more difficult times. We've invested more focus on production with our field teams. We've brought a lot more into that area with production services, providing more integrated solutions to differentiate some of the offerings, make them, create a little more value around them. So from a standpoint of that, our dealers have really latched onto that in a big way, and that's given us a lot of demand, a lot of increase in demand in production. As far as inventory overall, I mean, we're all in there fighting the fight. All the manufacturers. What Ricoh has tried to do from the beginning is really provide as much information down to the field and have as much interaction with the dealers as possible, so we could prioritize orders when things were a little more scant. We've also taken a lot of different actions, creative actions from a manufacturing standpoint. This past month in September, our most significant line is the business color line, our IMC series. Well, we shipped in September twice as many units, or I should say we shipped as many in September as we did in July and August combined. Why? because we have another model now called our LT model that is able to take a different type of chip. So the chip where there was a shortage, we were able to augment that, and our manufacturing was able to produce significantly more units. We a couple of months ago, we opened up a trade route into the East Coast ports through Panama. That has been a big positive impact. So we're, like I said, we're all fighting the fight. I think we've done some things well with the communication and some of the creative things, but there's certain areas that have gotten much better, and there's certain areas where we're still fighting through it.
No well, and with everybody, that seems cyclical. You have these machines this month, and then all of a sudden you have these, they're gone, and now you have something else that showed up, and we're all at the mercy of what's showing up on those boats, right? Mm-hmm. But what's showing up is hardware. You're still a print company. You're growing some areas of your print business. MFP is your core, right? That's Ricoh today. Right. Where's Ricoh going with the dealers? We discussed before we got on the show here. You're gonna have a meeting next year. You're gonna sometime probably in the latter part of the year, a big meeting like old school, like we used to do, and you're gonna talk about all this stuff that I'm asking about now. So print today, where does it go from here? Where's Ricoh in 5-10 years?
I think, from Ricoh's standpoint, and you said it, Andy, the core will still be our base position. But from there, it's clear that customers need more to manage their information, right? They're looking for more. The good news is right now, customers don't know exactly what they want. They're open. If we have the capability to sit down and talk to them about their processes, about the areas where they have to create more efficiencies, if we're able to have that conversation, it's a huge opportunity, because they don't know exactly what they're looking for. They know the result they're trying to get to. So more and more, what we've been talking about, I use the phrase a lot. Our dealers have to go from being that trusted print provider to that information management partner. And we need to expand what we're bringing in, and the opportunities there, and it's very significant. So from Ricoh's standpoint, what we're looking to do is we've had to invest very significantly in expanding the solutions we're able to provide.
DocuWare and
DocuWare was an acquisition we did. A lot of these other investments we've made, we have a very large direct footprint with very large enterprise customers that demand these resources. Well, what we've been doing is we've been now scaling those to the SMB and to the local major, and that's what we're looking to support our dealers with. So that's a big part of how we're looking to work with our dealers during this transition, because we think it's absolutely critical to keep that value add going. And that's what the dealers live by, the value add.
So this is the digital transformation. We hear this everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. When we look at Ricoh in 5 years, are you still a print company? Are you a technology company? Are you a data company? What do you see yourselves as?
Well, I mean, it's semantics. Like I said, yeah. We're gonna still, at the basis, we're still gonna be that print MFP base element to where we go, but it is going to expand considerably from there. And to say a solutions company, that's a little overused, but we are going to be into helping customers better manage their overall information. And the way we're going to do that, I mean, you mentioned DocuWare, which was a great acquisition of Ricoh's. That part of the business has been, that content management part of the business has grown dramatically, specifically with our dealers. A couple of weeks ago, we acquired a company called Sonoro. Now they are a audio-visual technology company, a unified communications, providing all the services, taking these kind of virtual engagements to a whole nother level. Well, what does that have to do with print? Well, it is an absolute adjacency to all the other types of solutions we're looking to bring to our customers.
And one area I don't typically get quite as into, but we do cover it, right? Like the whiteboards and the AV solutions you already offer. What are those? The throw down. What are the LCDs
the displays?
Short. It's a short. What is it called? A short
throw projector.
Oh, sure. That's it. Yes. Very cool, right? And so those are the things. If you it's a little tiny box you put up next to the wall, and suddenly your whole wall is a screen, really. You know. So very cool stuff. So you've been in collaboration for a while. You've already kind of, I wouldn't even say dip your toe. You're really already in it as far as the digital transformation goes. So it's just, from where I said, evolution, right? But it's interesting to watch you continue to support the print, but just the other areas you're moving into, and not just, hey dealer, you need to do this. Hey dealer, you need to do that. It's, hey, we're buying these companies. We're buying we're buying this other company for AV. We're buying assets, to integrate into Ricoh so that it works better with what you're trying to do. There's more continuity. There's more,
No doubt. But there's another important part of that. Having the capability is one thing, like the way we're looking at it. Okay, you have a software that aids you in being able to automate a process. That's one thing, but it takes the people to connect it to the specific need of the customer. In other words, so what we're doing, Ricoh has launched what we call our digital services center under a gentleman by the name of Bob Lemondola. And Bob came actually from the Mindshift acquisition. And what Bob is doing right now from a dealer standpoint is he is developing our dealer solutions portfolio. Now, how is he doing that? Is he doing that just by grabbing the technology? That's the starting point. But we had our first National Dealer Council meeting in a while, face-to-face, a couple of months ago. One of the workshops we did with our National Dealer Council was Bob leading the dialogue about developing what would make sense for our dealers. And if we had this and this, how would this plug in to the dealer model? Because it's one thing just to have a capability. It's another thing to be able to deliver it on an ongoing basis and make money.
Yeah.
So that's really a part of what makes this transformation start to take shape.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's been cool watching some of the acquisitions now. They seem different than, back in the old days, you would acquire somebody and then whoever you acquired would seem to take over kind of running Ricoh for a while until the next company acquired you. And it hasn't been that way in quite a while now, not since I would say the Icon acquisition was really the last time that kind of happened. And, it was rocky, right? Integrating that was rocky, and you were up and down, and you've been a lot more stable lately, would you say?
Absolutely. And I think what that stems from is, like anything else, we went through that re-entry period when we were bringing in, we knew where we had to go. It came down to getting the pieces together and being conscious and cognizant of making sure that everything flows into the business the way it needs to. It wasn't good enough to just by just continuing to add to the sauce here. It had to have a flow to it. And I think once that was determined, I think things got a lot more manageable on our side. I also think one of the things we did internally at Ricoh as it relates to dealer is we before had a marketing department, and I on the dealer side had access to that marketing department. We had other areas. Now we have specific dealer marketing, because the way in which we need to go to our dealers needs to be coordinated. And when they look at the Ricoh dealer, when we look at the Ricoh dealer division within Ricoh, our responsibility holistically is now manage the dealer experience. Now with this dedicated approach, things are getting out to the field, like what's going on behind the curtain. I'm not saying it's beautiful back there, but by the time we bring it out to the dealer, it's the way it should be.
Well, it makes it work a little easier, right? So, I mean, it's a little more polished by the time it gets to them. It has been impressive though. I mean, it's like we're coming out of a pandemic. Everybody's got stuff blowing up all over. You really haven't had, I don't want to say this in jinx you, but you haven't had an issue in a
Exactly.
while.
Let's knock on wood here. Yeah.
Let's knock on whatever we can. It's you're on a good stretch. You're picking up market share. Your dealers, you're not the one I'm hearing people complain about. So good for you. You guys are doing well right now. So kudos to what's going on to you, and congrats to Karsten. I got to get him on the show again. We had him early on, and so I think we're due for a repeat. But this has been great catching up with you, and I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us about this. Any last shout outs, any last message you'd like to leave us with?
The only thing I would say, you mentioned Karsten and the events we're going to have. We'll be announcing very shortly to our dealers. We're going to have a few regional events, in live regional events throughout the country. And then we'll be going toward more of a national type of event in the fall. And that'll be a good opportunity for Karsten to get his word out, engage with our dealers. But the big thing Ricoh's looking at as we go forward with everything else that's going on is to continue to enhance the communication and the interaction with our dealers. Because just like we're saying to the dealers that you need to partner with your customers, what that means is our relationship has to continue to, we have to continue to partner together to be able to deliver these solutions the way.
Well, without them, you're nothing at this point, right? I mean,
absolutely,
right. That's your sales arm. You really got rid of, the direct sales operation several years ago, and you're all in with the dealers. So if you blow it with them, your numbers you're going to know it real fast.
Well, I mentioned to you before, we're starting our midterm strategy planning now, starting for next year, and the dealers play very front and center in everything we're doing. Absolutely.
Awesome. Jim, always good to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time and being on today.
Always a pleasure, Andy. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.